In this section, we're going to learn about simplifying a radical. So just like we can rewrite a fraction in a different way, we're going to rewrite a radical in a different way. So I'm going to start with factoring the number underneath the radical. And factoring means what are two numbers that multiply to 350. And it helps to just start dividing. So this means 2 times 175 is 350. So 2 times 175. And then we want to get down to all prime numbers, and we're going to rewrite it. So 350 is really 2 times, I'm going to leave that 2 alone, and keep going. So 175, I like to start with 2. See how that's a decimal? That doesn't work. Divided by 3, nope, decimal. 4, nope, 5. So that means 5 times 35 is equal to 175. So 5 times 35. And these numbers I'm going to write under here. 2 times 5, and we're going to keep going down. 35 is 5 times 7. So what I did was I just rewrote 350 in factors. 2 times 5 times 5 times 7 is actually equal to 350. Okay, I just rewrote it a separate way. So now we're going to look for pairs of numbers. So I have a pair of 5s, and I want you to think of this is really the square root of 25. Okay, so that is a perfect square. That means if I take the square root of 5 times 5, my answer's just 5. So there's no more square root. I just have 5, and I bring that out as 1. Okay, and you have to have a pair of numbers to do that. So the 2 and the 7, they're stuck. They don't have a pair. I brought out a 5, and then underneath the square root, I still have a 2 times 7, which is 14. So I want you to remember what I said at the beginning. I said all we're doing is we're writing it a different way. Okay, so we started with the square root of 350. See how that's equal to 18.71, whatever. I rewrote it as 5 times the square root of 14. I did not change the value. All I did was write it a different way. It's the same number. So 5 square root of 14 is my answer. Okay, square root of 100. You should recognize perfect squares. So perfect squares, 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. When you multiply a number by itself, 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to keep going. 6 times 6, 36. I want you to recognize these numbers when you see them under a square root. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. 9 times 9 is 81. 10 times 10 is 100. That means that the square root of 100 is 10. Okay, that's a perfect square. Two numbers multiply to 100 that are the same. And really, you should be able to recognize these perfect squares. Perfect square, 16. 4 times 4 is 16, which means the square root of 16 is 4. Alright, square root of 224. So this one is not a perfect square, so we're going to have to factor it. I like to start with 2. 224 divided by 2 is 112. So I have the 2. And I'm going to keep going. So 112 divided by 2 is 56. So 2 times 56 is 112. I'll keep going. 2 times 28 is 28. I'm writing out these 2's. That's what these are over here. Okay, so let's keep going. 2 times 14 is 28. 2 times 7 is 14. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's and 1 7. And you can always check and make sure. If I have 5 2's times 1 7, I get 224, right? And that's what we want. Okay, so now we're looking for a pair of numbers. That means this. I have 2 2's, but they come out of the square root as 1 2. I have 2 2's, and they come out of the square root as 1 2. So outside, I have a 2 and a 2, and inside, I have a 2 and a 7. So our last step is we multiply what's in and we multiply what's out. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 7 is 14, and you can always check your answer by putting them in the calculator. They should be the same number. So that's right. Square root of 160. 160 is not perfect square, so we're going to start factoring. Okay, so 160 divided by 2 is 80. So 2 times 80. 2 times 40 is 80. 40 is 2 times 20. 20 is 2 times 10. 10 is 2 times 5. So these numbers, these prime numbers, are what I'm going to write out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's and a 5. And I just like to check my work. 5 2's and a 5 is 160. Good. Okay, so now we look for a pair. A pair of 2's we bring out of the square root as 1 2. A pair of 2's we bring out of the square root as 1 2. So on the outside I have 2 2's, and on the inside I have 2 times 5, which stays. And then we multiply what we bring out. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 5 is 10. And again, I'm going to check my work. I started with the square root of 160, I ended with 4 square roots of 10. Those are equivalent, they're the same, I did it right. Okay, square root of 120. This one I know. 2 times 60 is 120. 2 times 30 is 60. 2 times 15 is 30. And 3 times 5. So this would be my factorization. 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 should equal 120. Yep. I like to check, make sure. Then I'm going to take each pair that I have and it comes out as 1. So that's it. On the outside, I just have a 2. On the inside, I still have a 2 times 3 times 5, which is equal to 30. So 2 square roots of 30 should be equivalent to the square root of 120, and it is. Those are the same, so that would be my answer. Alright, 480. We're just going to keep doing some examples. This is going to be a big number. So 480 divided by 2 is 240. 2 times 240 240 is 2 times 120, and then it's what we just did. 2 times 60, 2 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 5. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's my factorization. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's, and then a 3 and a 5. I'm just going to move this over. 5 2's, and a 3 and a 5 is 480. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to bring out the pairs. A pair of 2's, pair of 2's, and then that's left over. So on the outside I have 2 times 2, you multiply those, and then on the inside I still have a 2 times 3 times 5. Now we're just going to multiply it all. So 2 times 2 is 4, inside I have 30 again. So 4 square root of 30 should be equivalent to the square root of 480, and it is. Alright, so we have a division one here, and I'm hoping that you can see that these are perfect squares. If you are not sure, put them in a calculator. Square root of 10 is 100, because 10 times 10 is 100. So that's 10. 12 times 12 is 144. So what that means is the square root of 144 is 12. So 10 over 12, but then it reduces. These both divide by 2. So 5/6. Careful. They put 10/12 there, but you want to get our answer all the way simplified.